It's now time to define fitness, and it's already up here on the board. Fitness is work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And all this means is that it's the amount of power that you can produce across an unlimited set of physical tasks. Now let me walk you through it. On the graph here, we have a y-axis that represents power, and we have the x-axis that represents duration. And we have to plot data on this graph. Now, what is that data? It's your workouts. So if we pull from the What is CrossFit lecture, we had an individual weighing in at 200 pounds, about 6 feet tall, traveling 2 feet every rep for 60 reps over 1 minute, the power equation, that gave us 24,000 foot-pounds per minute. If I take that data, I can then plot it on this graph. And that data point could go right here. And if we look down, it's the 60-second time domain. Now what I do is I look in my workout book and I look at every other workout or activity that I've done that falls underneath or at that 60-second time domain. And I do the equation given to us in the What is CrossFit lecture, force times distance over time equals power, and I plot another data point, and I keep doing that. And eventually, when I'm done, I will have a series of data points. Now what I have to do is take the average of those data points, average power, and that lands us right here. X marks the spot, as they say. Then what I need to do is look at all the other workouts that I've done and all the other time domains and follow that same protocol. For example, in the 10-second time domain, I'm looking at my fast lifts or my fast sprints or my hard efforts. I could push out to about a 3-minute time domain. I'm looking at Fran's and Diane's where we're doing 21:59 of deadlift and handstand push-up. Perhaps I run half a mile. I could go 10 minutes. Maybe I run 2 miles. I do a Nancy, half a Cindy, anything that has a 10-minute time cap on it. We could even go as long as hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, marathons, ultra marathons, you name it, we're gonna plot it on this graph. Then what we do is after we found the average of every data point, we design or we draw a line of best fit, as you can see on the board. And what we have done there is graphed our fitness right now. It's a graphical representation of fitness. And this area under the curve, as it says right here, is your work capacity. Now, how do the models play into our definition? Well, let's peel back. We have model number 3, the metabolic pathways. Remember we talked about short, medium, and long time domains? Well, that is represented down here on the x-axis, short, medium, and long. We want to go across a whole range of durations. Models 1 and models 2, the 10 general physical skills and the hopper, a balance of physiological adaptations and a balance of skills and drills. Where does that rear its head? Right here on these data points. They are our modal domains. And how does it work? Well, we need to have capacity across the 10 general physical skills. Why? Because we need to be ready for anything that comes out the hopper, our workouts. So we have your work capacity, area under the curve, across broad time, short, medium, and long, and modal domains. They're our data points of our skills and drills. And that covers those first 3 models that we discussed earlier in our lectures. So the area under the curve is your work capacity. Fitness is defined as work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And the goal, you guessed it, we want to do CrossFit. And why? Because we want every side of this curve to lift. We want the short and the powerful, we want the long and the less powerful, and everything in between to rise together. And we do that by performing CrossFit. Now, let's again pull back to our specialists, because that's where we compare. If I take the elite Olympic lifter or the elite power lifter and I graph their fitness, they're going to have a good old laugh at our top end power. Why? Because they can create so much more power than us. But the trade-off for that, based on how they're borrowing and stealing from all the other 9 general physical skills, is that their curve will drop off dramatically. In around 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Could be less, but it will be a dramatic drop-off. Now, we take a look at what the specialist curve would look like relative to the CrossFit athlete's curve. And we'll see that the area under the curve for the CrossFit athlete will be bigger than that of the powerlifter. Go to the other side of the spectrum, the endurance runner, their power is going to start lower and it will actually finish lower, even though they can run relatively fast for long distances. The area under their curve will also be less than the area under the curve for the CrossFit athlete. And once again, there's a price to be paid for specialization, and that's the goal of that athlete. And it's an amazing feat and an accomplishment. Our goal is to be the jack of all trades and master of none, the generalist, as shown right here. So the question then becomes, how much of any single adaptation do we need, think back to the 10 general physical skills, in order to increase the area under the curve? Well, the answer is quite simple, although it might not seem like that in the first place. How strong do we want to be? The most strong? More strength? All the strength? Well, that might push us towards that of a specialist. All the flexibility, all the endurance, all the stamina, all the coordination. We don't need the all of everything. The guiding tenet for how much of any single adaptation we need to increase our fitness and area under the curve is that continues to do so. We don't just want one side of the curve to be lifted while the other stays stagnant. We want both sides. And that completes our definition of fitness. Work capacity across broad time and modal domains.